Imagine being cancelled by your long-lost son who turns out to be Dabi of all people. Couldn't be me, but goddamn Endeavor. I feel for you, my boy. This episode, I did not see this coming. If there's been one reveal I've been very happy hasn't been spoiled for me, it's gotta be this one. I'm surprised I was able to navigate it, because there's been some things that have been just naturally spoiled for me on Twitter and shit, but like, this one, it sucker punched me, because just to see Endeavor's past get exposed in the way that it did, while also showcasing some present actions like Hawks literally stabbing a villain running away, making it look very, very poor, at least on the hero side. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, it's not that it's not true, but like, the people won't have the full truth. They don't know either A, how much Endeavor's changed, or that even most of the family is more on the forgiving side right now, and those who aren't are actually taking a moment to say, at least he has changed. And then you expose all this information to ruin hero society, rather than just simply killing them, but more so emotionally killing their image, and just to see what they were able to accomplish with this week's episode of My Hero. Wow is all I can say. Now, there is a full live reaction available on my Patreon if you're interested, of course, but this one got me because the whole concept of Dabi being Toya, it makes sense. In hindsight, the clues are there. It's obvious, but I think there's so many subtle details that make it so it's very easy to be oblivious to that information. The fact that his fire, as an example, doesn't look even close to what Endeavor or Todoroki or any of them are basically look like when they attack. So it's not just like, oh, it's another fire ability, therefore it's the long lost son. As they even say, I think the phrase is like, there's like literally a dime a dozen in terms of how many people have flame abilities in this world. No one's gonna bat an eye and say, ooh, there's another fire ability, it's so rare. No, fire abilities are literally all over the place. And the fact that his were like these blue flames, the fact that he was all scarred, like, and it makes so much sense on the visual side now, because as Endeavor says after the forest was done burning, he says it was like 2000 degrees Celsius or something, and all he found was a piece of his jawbone. The fact that on his face it's literally sewn up, I mean all over his body he's sewn up, but the fact of the matter was it starts to explain why he physically looks like that, why people were convinced he was dead. And the fact that until the water gets poured in to basically, you know, remove whatever's coating up so it's not obvious that he's related to him. I love the fact that it just, now that seeing it, I can think of so many Dabi moments or just visual power things that just make it say like, oh shit, that was him this entire time, and had just that little bit of information, like someone pointing me on the path. It would have been ruined that easily, but I love the fact that it was so obvious but so hidden in plain sight. The fact that even the villains were like, shit, he kept that from us. Talk about an ace up your sleeve, because no one saw that coming. And I just thought it was such a brilliant reveal. But the thing that got me with it wasn't just like, it was someone being like, now I'm gonna hurt you, Dad. It's that every time you focused on Endeavor, he just was crushed. He was shook. It wasn't about his image being ruined. It wasn't about anything other than, this is my long lost son who I believed with all my heart was still here. And now all he wants to do is to hurt me, my family, and everyone else in between. And the fact that you just continue to focus on civilians, there's bodies under rubble as children cry, people on the street listening to this lunatic talk about his blood results, but why would he believe anything you say? And then you see Hawks do something that looks so villainous, but as we the viewer and the heroes know, Hawks killing twice, it had to happen because he gave him so many opportunities to leave, but this was arguably the most dangerous person next to, of course, Shigaraki, that if he was to let loose, I mean, the world would be screwed. So the fact that they don't have that information, but as in typical social media culture, you can just put the bare minimum of information and then that gets spread like wildfire. It's not about having the full context. People will make their opinion just based on, oh, they were shitty in the past, then therefore they're shitty now. Or, oh, this person looks like they did something very bad, but you don't have the full picture of explains and kind of puts everything into perspective. And the way My Hero just did this episode, I mean, at this point, I'm not even going to try to say I have a favorite episode of the season, because there's too many over the past month or so of this show. Maybe even 6 weeks would be a better kind of time range to talk about My Hero, because the amount of reveals, the crazy action, hell, there wasn't even a lot of action in this episode, but the number of Dabi close-ups that were just, they were villainous, man. The close-up smiles. At one point, I think he dances. it literally felt like he was dancing as he was listening to the screams of everyone probably like being like, what the hell? How can we trust our number one hero? Endeavor's done such a good job at starting to build his own number one hero status that people aren't looking at him as like he's a replacement for All Might that's not doing his job. No, people are like, damn, people are starting to believe in him, and to see how it all gets crumbled, and my poor boy, all I can say is family Thanksgiving's gonna be different. It's gonna be hitting different for sure after this one. But what an episode, because there's so many like great moments, seeing like Deku as an example, just so beaten and bruised. I mean, looking at his arms, just they are so screwed. And I actually really like the visual parallels between him and Shiggy, because Shiggy has kind of like a similar detail going on for his body, so it's all kind of all across. He has scars and everything, but the fact that it's more like black detailed in terms of how they're detailing it with the color, where my boy Deku has it more on the purplish red tinge, it's just really interesting because there's so much about their personalities, their abilities, and how put in just slightly different situations, you can see how either of them could have been screwed in such a horrifying way. And just to see the episode escalate, hell, even Ochako as an example, we got a very brief moment with her and Psycho Bitch, but I mean, there was something about that scene where she had the little like All Might, I don't know, stuffy thing that she hangs on the side. I thought she was gonna like bite it off and like make it be like a, I don't know, like a foreshadowing moment, like, oh shit, you know, your boyfriend's next because he won't love me. And then instead it actually ended pretty quickly, and then Makia comes in and just like, it's just constantly back to back, like you think that's gonna be the important moment, or then it shocks you, and then they completely sideswipe you with the Dabi reveal being Toya, and it's like, holy shit, where do we go? And you know what? The only answer is Best Jeanist comes in and does the only play to save the day, and I'm like, holy shit. Just when I think the arc is finally winding down, we're gonna get that kind of stopping break where the villains are forced to retreat, they'll regroup, they'll attack again. Instead of just doing that, they're saying, no, we're not quite done yet. We're going to keep the action going a little longer, reintroduce some characters you weren't expecting, while simultaneously ruining the public image of so many heroes, both Hawks and Endeavor. So even if you live to fight another day, what is the general people going to think of you? They're not going to think very highly of you, and those who aren't completely against you are going to start second-guessing everything you do. And if he stays number one after this, I would be shocked, because there's something about it that just feels like he's going to get demoted. Like that, I don't know, maybe that's a little too worry for nothing, but that's kind of how it feels. I mean, I've been saying it for a while. I think this is the best My Hero season, hands down, and the more I watch, the more my mind gets blown. It's crisp animation, it's great close-ups with the art, it's just everything about it, and man, just hearing Todoroki's just screams. His VA always does such a good job, and just to see that, the anguish, the pain, the sorrow, is just so good. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below, whether you read that manga or if you're anime original like myself. What did you think of this insane ass episode of My Hero? Do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I mentioned, there's a full live reaction available on the Patreon, and you can also get video shoutouts like a few are about to get here. So we got Eumell, Alexis Pale, Yuki Ali, and Xeno. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.